Alright. Hey, viewers. No, this sucks.
Hello, fellow humans. Welcome.
By the way, this is all going on the video.
Absolutely, 100%. Alright, hey everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of the Accumulated Knowledge podcast. Today's focus is that we're going to be talking about the Adepts tournament last week in more depth and more focus and things like that. And yeah. So, first of all, did everyone have a good weekend last weekend?
I had a really good time. It was probably my most fun tournament I've ever gone to. Like, it was the most chilled out I've been during a tournament, and it's the most prepared I've been for one as well, so that probably helped as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because this was your first experience having like a training house.
Yeah, proper team.
Yeah.
Up until this point, it's just mostly been a few mates going to the same place at the same time.
Yeah, because you've done a couple nationals, you've done Adepts last year in Christchurch.
Right.
Is this your third or second Adepts?
Second
Adepts, yeah. So it's a lot nicer to have a team to bounce your decks off and things like that, and do a lot of training, and just always be in the zone. Really. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, it was good fun. It was my first ever tournament, so it was really good just to play Magic for like 4 days straight.
How stressed were you during the event, or did it just kind of feel like a FNM?
It kind of just felt like an FNM.
Oh, that's good.
It was pretty relaxed. There wasn't well, it was hard playing competition rules, but you didn't need to think about anything too much more in depth.
Oh,
so.
That's good. And Steph?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm glad that I had already done a competitive event, because unlike Luke, I was not very chill during my first competitive event.
Yeah.
It was super nerve-wracking. It was nationals, so
Yeah.
super nerve-wracking. But yeah, this was much more relaxed, much nicer.
By the end of nationals last year, you got pretty chill though.
Yeah.
Although I can't tell if it was because you were tired.
That
Or because you got used to it.
Because I played so much Magic,
Yeah.
and I was just over.
Was it too much Magic, or was it the perfect amount of Magic?
I think it was good. I think if we had another few hours, it would have been too much.
Yeah.
We kind of all crashed at the end of the modern tournament. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, obviously I played the most
Yeah.
out of everyone.
Yeah, you
in the
played all
entire-
5,
in
yeah.
the entire shop.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed playing Commander at the end.
Oh my
afterwards,
god,
so-
yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess
I think I only ran out of my ability to play in a serious game versus people who are trying to beat you was running out.
Yeah, because that kind of answers the question, because after the main tournament, we all went home. We still played a game of Commander. We were at the airport. We still played another game of Commander.
That was great.
Yeah. It's a different kind of Magic, but still, yeah, we were definitely not sick of Magic. What about you, Steph? Too much Magic?
I was pretty tired by the modern tournament.
Yeah.
But I think you want to jam as much of the competitive Magic as you can get while you're up there.
Yeah.
Because it's a once a yearly thing. So.
And I remember you in the Modern Trophy. You won your last round. There was a chance you could make top 8, but you didn't. But you didn't really care because you're like, okay, get to go home.
Yeah, I was
Magic.
not keen to make top 8 for Modern. Just wanted to go home.
All right, well, that's good. We all had a good weekend. So, what was everyone's records? We'll start with you, Luke.
So in Standard, I went 3-3-1. In Modern, I also went 3-3-1. And in Title Trophy, I went 3-3. So I went
Very
exactly
consistent.
equal through the entire weekend.
That is incredibly consistent.
Yeah.
For me, in the Standard Cup, I went 4-3. On the Title Trophy, I went 5-1 day 1, but then scrubbed out and went 0-3. And I played in the Standard Showdown event, which had a massive 16 people. I went 4-0 in that, so that's my win for the weekend.
You'd had enough of Modern. You didn't want to play.
I'm not a big Modern fan. I'm the opposite of James McNally.
Yeah. Well, if you want to listen to all my records, settle in because I
here we
played
go.
4 tournaments. Standard. 5? Is that right? Standard. Modern,
5 tournaments. Yeah, you played 5
5
tournaments. Yeah.
5.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
What are they?
All right, Standard Trophy.
Uh-huh.
I went 4-3. Mostly because I got flooded and mana screwed quite a lot. Lots of land problems.
Yeah.
Main event, I went 3 losses, 6 wins.
Nice.
I was only 1 game away from top 8, so I was pretty happy about that. Ended up 12th.
Yeah.
Let's see. Vintage was not great. I think I went 3 and 4. So it was an experience. Anyway, I'm not such a fan of Vintage anymore after playing that. Legacy was 4-3. Probably just down to my bad luck dredging rather than actually getting hated out or anything like that. And the final one was modern. There was 6 rounds, so I went 2 and 3, and then me and Luke ID'd in the final round.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that was because we'd had enough.
Yep. All right. What about you, Steph?
So in the standard, I did very badly, and I think I won 2 games, and they were quite near the end as well. It was pretty bad.
You were piloting mono blue for that one.
Yeah, I changed my deck for the standard for the main trophy, and changed to mono red, and I did a lot better. So I did 4 and 2 on the first day, and then I went 2 and 1 on the second day.
So close.
And then I came 10th.
Yeah.
And was very close to top 8. And then modern, I think I went X and 2. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, let's talk about some of the highlights over the weekend, what we did well. So, first of all, let's talk about the meta. Do you think we had a good read? We'll talk about standard first here. Do you think we had a good read on the standard meta going into this?
We said there's going to be a lot of red decks, and there was a lot of red decks.
Yeah.
I think we missed Feather.
Absolutely missed
Yeah.
Feather.
Yeah.
That was the only meta deck we didn't get on all the metas.
Yeah, because Feather was
the
popular
rest
like
of them was
3 weeks ago, but then it just dropped out of existence because then
Yeah, I
the
think
popular
'cause-
things were like vampires and things like that.
It came out really close to the tournament, and
Yes.
we didn't think people
Because
would
of
have
the
built it.
scape shift, right? It was kind of people's
Yeah.
answer to scape shift and Nexus and things like that. So
Maybe we weren't paying enough attention. We were betting on Scapeshift and Dinos to be the new decks.
Yeah.
But Feather was even newer.
and I expected Esper to be quite prominent as everyone's safe choice. You know, just kind of like Scarab God last year, things like
Yeah.
that. It's a safe choice, but it was pretty.
I saw
Pretty bare.
3 Esper decks.
Yeah, 3 Esper decks. Like you saw them or played
Including
against
myself.
them.
I've seen them.
Yeah, so that's not much
Yeah.
on a like 60 to 90 people sort of like tournament. Yeah, so definitely the biggest decks were Feather and Mono Red
I
and
think
Scape Shift.
the other thing we didn't count on was that the midfield and the top of the field separated up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So I ended up, in playing Mono Blue and Standard, I ended up facing a Mono Red deck the first game and lost to it. And then from then on I was midfield, and I saw a lot of Mono Red, and I saw a lot of things like Boris Angels and those sort of decks. Whereas I was betting on Scape Shift and Nexus.
And then, but those all went up to
decks,
the top,
they
right?
were all at the top
Yeah.
of the field.
Yeah,
And-
at the top table, it just felt like Scape Shift and Nexus versus Feather,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, all the top 8s for both the main event and for, I guess the main event one really was more of a modern based for the title trophy, because that's 6 rounds
600
versus
modern,
3.
yeah.
But top 8 was like half Nexus in the title trophy, whereas in the standard trophy it was mostly Feather.
5
with
Feather decks, yeah.
5 Feather decks,
Insane.
1 Nexus deck, 1 Scape Shift deck. Yeah, it was all.
And
it
then
was all.
Vampire?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
something like
really
that, yeah.
odd, some random odd ones in there. Yeah, so it was really. I think the top 8s. If you combine those 2 top 8s, it kind of gave you an okay
Yeah.
idea of what everyone was playing. Apart from Mono Red, which didn't seem to quite get there.
Yeah, I expected Dinosaurs to have a better performance, but it ended up, a lot of the decks ended up ending in midfield. I don't know whether it was just because it didn't line up properly or doesn't have the removal package for Feather or something, but
Yeah, you probably have to ask Seb Hart about that. It's his favourite deck at the moment.
yeah,
right?
yeah, true. So yeah, we kind of got the meta right-ish, but we definitely didn't get our
Missed Feather.
yeah, we definitely missed Feather. I have a note here about the training house. How do we feel the training house improved our plays? Do we?
Well, I made this comment to James on the Sunday that I feel like since all of us did so well, we pretty much all top forward, everyone here. Well, not top forward, day 2'd.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
everyone-
except for Luke. Except for Luke.
First event.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure about Luke, but
No, but yeah, in the house,
Right.
four out of 6 of us did.
4 out of
yeah,
6
Jake,
of us
Jake
day
McNally
2.
didn't day 2.
So 4 out of 6 of us day 2'd, and out of the other trophies we played in, we all did pretty well as well. So I think based on that and looking at the other training houses we knew about, like Seb's house.
Is this a humble flex
Um,
for the other training houses?
I'm not trying to flex, but I feel like we had such a good environment that
We did,
we
yeah.
got
Yeah.
out into the mindset really quickly, and mindset's really super important.
Yeah.
There's definitely something to be said about talking about Magic, like constantly
Yeah.
with people who are at the same skill level and interest and competitive level that you are. That you just don't get if you like go out by yourself or if you go out with like 2 people versus the 6 we had.
Yeah, so our training house did a lot better than all the other Christchurch ones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think I definitely actually, now that you bring it up, I actually did feel a lot more relaxed during this weekend compared to other tournaments. I feel like it was just because of the mindset you're in, you know? When you arrive, you're in this competitive mindset. When you're practicing games, you're in the competitive mindset. When you show up, it's just like, it's the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. So
Well, also, I managed to put together a whole new deck which was mostly donated by Luke, but there were a couple of bits that I borrowed from other people.
Yeah.
So much of my cards were borrowed,
Yeah.
and that was made really easy by the fact that we had not only a really good training house, but also a bunch of Christchurch people coming up.
Willing to help.
Yeah, I think one of the downsides though is that for the training house, I think for the last couple events when we practiced, we had 5 decks max to kind of grind against each other and figure it out. But I have for my sideboard guide for this standard cup, 11 different decks. So it did kind of feel like you couldn't prepare for everything, but you just kind of had to pick your deck and try your best and just come up with things on the fly.
In Nationals previous year, we had a training house of 4.
Yeah.
And there was a smaller field, but we still didn't get to practice against every deck.
Yeah.
So I think the 6 people was a good amount.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just gonna rewind a bit about the meta. We just skipped over the modern meta. How do we feel about a read on the modern meta for the Adepts tournament?
I think it was pretty accurate. Very much helped by the Mythic Championship.
Hogak.
Hogak,
Dredge.
Tron,
Yeah.
Jund, and
Dredge.
Affinity.
Like some hardened scales.
Scales Affinity.
I saw one other player playing my version. But,
without hardened skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine was a bit out of left field. Yeah.
I think for me the surprise was the amount of burn that was there.
That wasn't a surprise to me. Burn it's the same sort of reasoning with mono red, is that it's an easy deck to pick up. It's always floating around for people who want to borrow decks.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward to play.
Yeah.
So it's a very good deck for people who are more interested in the standard side to come into.
Yeah. You're totally right there. I just when I picked up my Infect deck, I expected there to be a lot more Tron, Hogak, the big tier 1 monsters. But then there was just a lot of burn scattered throughout the whole format.
I think that's partly an Auckland thing.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere that Auckland's just a hive for burn decks, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've heard that burn in the last week or so has become a really good choice for the meta because of the Deflecting Palm tech choice against Hogak and things like that. So, I went up against Deflecting Palm a few times as well, which was not great. So, but Modern's a bit more predictable, isn't it? Really, at least until.
It would have been hard if we hadn't have had the Mythic Championship, Star City Games, and GP Barcelona.
Yeah.
Magic Quest Barcelona. All in the same weekend. It gave so much data.
Yeah.
Not only about what was in the meta, but what everyone's matchups were favoured against.
So all that said was main board surgical and 4 Leyline of the Voids.
4 Leyline of the Voids. Sideboard, 2 surgicals, main board. Very scared of Hogak.
Yeah, big monster. All right, so we'll wrap up this positive section with any good plays, any wonderful stories from the weekend and games or matchups or experiences.
Well, I had a really fun moment. I played a turn 3 Aria of Flame, and then I killed them with 28 damage on turn 4.
Oh, that
was amazing.
Was that game 1?
Game 2, I think.
Game 2. Okay, yeah.
It was so much fun.
You become a big advocate for that card, right? Aria of Flame. Yeah.
Well, Manamorphose, Finale of Promise, Flashback Manamorphose, and looting.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yeah, it was insane.
What about you?
Well, I played so many games that there's going to bound to be a few stories to come out of it.
Yep.
So we've got the thing that made me laugh the most was actually playing Legacy Dredge round 3, 2-0 going into it, and my opponent has been doing a bit of scouting. You know, he thinks he's got me, so when he wins the die roll, he puts me on the play.
Oh,
because because I'm playing Dredge, and he's been looking around and he's seen me playing Dredge, and he thinks I'm on Mindless, because everyone else, there were a whole bunch of other dredge decks, but they were all manaless
Uh-huh.
because it's cheap. It's like a few $100s to buy everything, and it's like basically the modern deck but without lands in it. So I go off real hard game one, like land faithless looting, Kraken Lion's Eye Diamond in response, dredge like 20 cards. He goes, oh, and then scoops out.
That's great. That's
On
amazing.
turn one.
Yeah.
Incredible.
What else I do? I played against Burn a couple times where I was at 2 life and had
This
to dodge
is
the
in
lethal burn.
legacy or
This is in standard.
standard, right?
Yeah, in standard. I played against Burn a couple times where I was at 2 life and had to dodge the lethal burn spell, and luckily I did. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got a 3-for-1 with an Elder Spell
Oh,
in
yeah.
game 3 versus Esper Control.
Oh, what? That's
Yeah.
so good.
And
Yeah.
the turn before, what I'd done, I knew he had a Dovin's Veto in hand, so he'd been returning my Search Phrase counter to my hand a bunch of times with Teferi, so I was like, he probably wants to counter this, right? So I tried to bait it out, and he doesn't counter it. So I'm like, but he did think about it, so it basically confirmed he had it. And so after that I go, well, I want to Elder Spell his stuff, but I'll just play a Narset as well to try and bait it out again. And he counters the Narset, and I'm like, yep, great. Next turn I got you, and I did. It was great.
Oh, that's
It
so
was like
good.
one of the best plays I've done in a long time.
So I had probably my favourite plays were against Tron 3 times, so twice in the main event and once in the modern, and all 3 games. In game 1 I got a Surgical Extraction and Assassin's Trophy in my opening hand and managed to Assassin Trophy and Surgical at Tronland.
Ugh.
So those are pretty sweet plays.
Which feels good because that surgical mainboard was a late addition, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's so good against Tron. It's so good against the Dredge Hogak decks and
It was
everything.
actually better against Tron. I only played one Hogak deck,
Oh.
I think, and the rest of them, the rest of them weren't graveyard decks, so it actually did more work against Tron than it did against Hogak.
Yeah. For me, piloting mono red for standard, I think that the 2 good games was actually against our very own Jake McNally and James over here. It was really key turns where like Scape Shift, they would make the whole bunch of zombies. I'm like, well, I got 1 turn to win, and I ended up comboing off like 40 or 50 mana's worth of cards and brought Jake down from 18 to 0 life, and pretty sure he's still a little bit salty about that. And there was another key game in game 3 against Grixis Control where we were both just trading resources 1 for 1, and then that key turn, you had like 3 or 4 morph tokens.
You
from
were at
Ugin.
8, and I had 8 power on
Yeah.
So I had lethal next turn.
Yeah, so I was empty-handed. I flipped the Experimental Frenzy, landed it, and I just played like 3 things. That was you were on 5
You
life.
played, so you went, I think you went Lava Runner,
Tybalt, and the monkey, Finagle Firebrand.
and you had a
Steamkin.
Steamkin, which I had to kill,
Yeah.
or else you would have played even more stuff
Yeah,
and killed me.
yeah. And the last card on top was a Bolt. So you pass the turn, you attack. I trade, ping you to 3, and then just flip the top card on my turn, and
Yeah.
that was it. That was the
Very
end of
upset.
that was round 6. That was the last game for day 1. Yeah. Putting you 4-2,
Everything could have been different if I was 5-1.
Yeah, yeah,
Day 2, you know?
yeah. It could have, totally could have been. It came down to that 1 card, but yeah, I think that was.
But I was mostly okay with it because neither of us we're going to get kicked out from day
Yeah.
2 if we lost, so
Yeah.
it was okay.
All right, so we'll move on to the next topic here. What could have gone better? In regards to the meta, let's focus on standard first. If you could do it again, would you play a different deck?
I did.
Well, you did, yes. Yeah, you started with mono blue, and
yeah.
you did change.
Mono blue is not my choice. I think the main problem with mono blue, to be honest, was I wasn't prepared enough for mono red, and my mono red matchups early on meant that I ended up midfield where there was a lot of decks that I wasn't well versed against. Scape Shift, I think I had an advantage. Nexus, I was good against. Control, I was good against, and weirdly, Jund Dinosaurs. I had dedicated 3 Transmogrifying ones to my sideboard for,
Yeah.
and I did face Jund Dinos late in the field and trampled them.
Yep.
So I think that was. I also had a problem there where I lost a lot of dice rolls, and every time I was on the play I won, and every time I was on the draw I lost.
Yeah.
So I think that was but that was too much down to luck. So I
Yeah.
had to change to a more reliable deck.
So if you did it again, would you show up with mono red or?
I think I'd play Scape Shift.
Yeah.
Or Nexus, to be honest.
It's a
I
grindy
think
deck.
those are more reliable in my playstyle. The mono red was really a last minute saving grace.
Fair enough. What about you, James?
Yeah, thinking about it, I feel like the best combination was Feather plus Hogak Dredge.
Yeah.
I mean, like once I got back from Auckland, I've played in a standard tournament and a modern tournament here at Game Corner, and I played those two decks, and I've been crushed. I crushed both of them.
Yeah.
So
You're doing so well with Feather.
yeah, I feel like that was definitely the right choice. I really enjoyed playing Grixis, and like I say, if Chris hadn't top decked on me, I would have gone 3-0 in standard.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You did really well with Grixis despite
Its
it being
shaky
a
performance, a complete
left field
tier 3 piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. What about you, Luke?
I quite enjoyed playing the Esper list,
Yeah.
but I probably wouldn't have had quite the same build. I probably would have done more of a hero type.
The mid-range tempo build.
Yeah, the counterspells didn't quite work in my favour.
That's what you're playing now, right? After
Mm.
yeah, and you feel like it's a lot better.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit more consistent.
Yeah, I've seen that be thrown around a lot. It's just control is just so it's so dead right now, right? Because of all the Teferis and the Narsets going around. It's just so hard to play.
Yeah.
For me, for standard mono red, I'd stick to it. I think it was really well lined up. The only change I would make for the standard cup was to put those fries in, because I definitely underestimated Feather, and that deck is so hard to beat unless you have the exact package of cards. You need instant speed, removal that's cheap, and without that, the Feather deck just rolls over you.
And does 4 damage, which is...
And you can't really, you have to get rid of Feather, which most of your spells can't, right?
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's only Fry and Lava Coils, so I need both of those in my hand, and yeah, just when I went up against Feather on day one with only Fight with Fire, I was so demotivated. It was just couldn't do anything about it. So that's what I would change. I think Mono Red's great against the rest of the meta. You beat the slow decks like Nexus and things like that. The Mono Red card draw package against control decks is amazing as well, and you auto lose against Dinos, but that's okay. That's okay. You just can't pick Dinos, but you just let them be. Yeah. What about for modern guys? You love your Phoenix, right?
Yeah, Phoenix is a great deck. I didn't do amazing with it, but I still would have played the same deck again if I did it again.
Yeah, nice.
It's great fun to play.
Affinity's probably a bit shaky. There is way less hate than there was previously in the past. There was like heaps of Sony silencers and stuff like that around. People are playing collector oofs now, which is way easier to deal with than an enchantment. But yeah, I think it's still fine. It's just not as fast as it should be to keep up with the current pace of modern.
Yeah.
It used to be like one of the fastest aggro combo decks around,
Yeah,
but
sure.
now it's like just too far behind the pace.
It's a mid-range deck.
Yeah, turn 2 Hogak is too good.
It's like a really
6/6,
slow
nah,
combo
didn't
deck.
Yeah.
So I'd probably change to Hogak Dredge.
Nice.
I think I was playing Jund. I was playing Jund before it got good. So I was really
You
happy
played
that it got
Jund
some
when it was
upgrades.
good, and then you played Jund when it wasn't good,
Yeah.
and then now you're playing Jund when it's good with
so
the new
I'm really
packages.
happy it got some upgrades in time for me to play it at Adepts. I think I was unfortunate that I ended up facing 2 Tron decks out of the 6,
Yeah.
but also to be expected. And I did beat one of the Tron decks, surprisingly. I'd play one more Collector Oof on the side. I was only running 2, and I think I was well get up for Tron with 3 Damping Spheres and 2 Collector Oofs.
Yeah. Nice. I played the Infect list, and I think out of 90 players, it was me and one other person that was on Infect. And I like the choice because there's a lot of like decks out there that's trying to do their own thing instead of doing, trying to beat other people. But then I ended up going up against Burn, Spirits, and the Druid combo that runs like so much removal in the sideboards.
All the interactive decks.
All the interactive decks, so it's a bit unlucky there. But yeah, I would definitely change. I think I'd like to try Tron or something like that. Or actually Burn. Tron or Burn. I would have definitely liked to pick up those decks.
The ones that beat Jund, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of counting down from 20 by increments of 3. So maybe the Burn deck is what I should have tried. So maybe between now and the next Adepts, I'll pick up or build Burn and see how that goes. So Moving along with things that could have gone better. What are our big punts over the weekend? Any big screw ups?
No, I'm just perfect
Oh
player.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How many times did you call judge on yourself?
Yeah, I did call judge on myself a couple of times. Like I
those
forgot
aren't
to draw
exactly
cards.
punts.
How many
Yeah.
times did you call judge on me?
I
When you were
think
not my
twice.
opponent. I think it was more than that.
I call
think it was
judge.
3
I like
times.
calling judges on people.
Yeah.
I forgot to
Oh,
decide what once. That wasn't ideal.
Oh god, yeah.
Wasn't too much of a nightmare, thank God.
Yeah.
I got destroyed by Wallace's Citadel. I would definitely play that card again.
You put it in your sideboard?
I definitely put it in
Yeah.
mine because it destroyed me.
It's such a
that-
weird card.
I bounced it once with the Teferi, and then
Yeah.
he just played it again and played about 10 spells off it. And
Yeah.
completely wiped my board, and that was game over pretty much.
You do have enough life gain in Esper, don't you? And like the stuff that comes off gives you life gain, so you pay 4 game 3. So like wow, yeah, I can see why that works. That's so gross.
I did make a minor misplay in Legacy where I was playing against Timo Delver, and they had a whole bunch of stuff on board. They had like a Dreadhorde Arcanist, a Delver of Secrets that was flipped, Renin 6, and I was like, I was gonna win next turn because I had heaps of zombies, and I thought, I'll play this Narcomoeba so that I can block his Delver of Secrets. Not realizing that it put me to 3 life.
Oh, yep.
And as soon as I cast it, I realized my mistake, and I just had to hope he didn't draw Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
And of course, did not, even though he had the brainstorm to try and find it.
Oh.
Didn't find the Lightning Bolt.
Nice.
So I was quite lucky.
What about you, Steph? Any big punts?
Probably my biggest one was playing when I blew. That would eclipse someone else. I think against Hogak, the game I lost, I think I was too scared of Hogak, and I didn't spend enough time exiling the dredge cards.
Oh yeah. Right.
And I think in my last game that would have put me in top 8, I was playing against Green Black mid range, and on the game 3, I mulled to 6 and kept it, and it was quite a land heavy hand, and I flooded out really badly, and I probably should have mulled to 5, but I was really reluctant to do that.
Yeah, that was a weird list. The Golgari.
It was actually interesting because I played very similar lists to it at Game Corner.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was surprisingly experienced against it.
Yeah.
Still lost though. So.
For me, my biggest punt was I played 3 mana Chandra, and after thinking way too long, I said, I'll just tick it up and pass. So my opponent ends up hastily playing a 2/2 haste. It was a feather deck and pumping it, and at that point I realized that I didn't actually tick her up, and she was still on 4 loyalty. So there was all a complicated judge call happened, but pretty much my Chandra stayed on 4 loyalty, and he got to resolve his stuff. There was no rewinds. So Chandra just died there, and I just lost so much tempo at that point, and just pretty much scooped it up. That was round 5 of the standard tournament, so that was slightly tilting. It was a bit unfortunate, but that's okay.
Well, it's kind of weird because you say you ticked her up, but it's a 0 that adds a loyalty count.
Yeah, so I felt like I didn't resolve it properly.
It's like saying I'm gonna activate this, and then you didn't.
Yeah,
it's what the judge decided.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, but that's okay. We gotta respect our judges. Who knows how long they'll be around for? Cough, Judge Academy. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so. Moving right along, the last section I have here is that we're just going to talk about how we've thought about the actual event. But before we move on to that, James would like to tell us about Vintage and Legacy.
Yeah, so they're all kind of a bit of a weird format for everyone. No one really gets to play it ever.
Yeah.
So I was just wanting to play Vintage because it was a kind of a novel thing. Like, you don't get to play against Power 9 at all, really.
No.
But when I went, I kind of got a bit disappointed, I suppose, because I thought I'd be playing something a little bit too underpowered, but the main problem with my deck, there was no Force of Wills in it. If I had Force of Wills in my deck, I would have been pretty much matched with every other player. No one was really playing anything top tier. There were 3 dredge decks, and the rest of the field was just jank out of the rest of the 13. So obviously Jason Chung won with his dredge list, so he got both the main prize, which was the Scrubland, plus the runner-up prize, which was not the runner-up, the unpowered.
Yeah, the unpowered prize.
The unpowered prize, free entry. So that was kind of a disappointment because I was like trying to maybe gun a bit for that, but I forgot that Dredge is super powerful and doesn't play any Power 9 cards.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing Dredge round 1, and I had a perfect opener. Deathrite Shaman into Wasteland for their Bazaar of Baghdad.
Oh, yeah.
So they go, they discard a Dredger or two, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to exile your Dredger and then destroy your Bazaar. And then they drew 2 more Bazaar of Bagdads.
Oh.
So that was pretty unlucky. That they drew 3 of their 4 of payoff card.
Oh, my God.
In like the top quarter of their deck. It was pretty painful. And I thought Leovold would actually shut down dredging a bit, but it turns out you can only draw 1 card a turn, but dredging doesn't count as drawing a card.
No. Yeah,
so,
it's a replacement effect.
So they just keep dredging, and I'm like, oh, well, this card's not doing anything.
Oh, no. Oh, that's unfortunate.
And then I lost to Manny playing Stoneblade, and I lost to Hypergenesis, which is basically show and tell, but legacy version. I only lost those games because I didn't have Force of Will in my deck, and I was looking very sad down at my Force of Negations.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Because game 2, I was like, oh, Wasteland or Tiger, and then he goes instant speed, cast Hypergenesis, and I couldn't Force of Negation it because it was on my turn.
Yeah.
And then I died to a Progenitus. I did beat Oath of Druids combo, which is basically like the best matchup that I thought I'd have for the deck, because it's just sorcery speed combo deck, so I can actually force a negation in their stuff. And I'm playing main deck Abrupt Decays and Assassin's Trophy, so I can destroy their enchantments and stuff. So
is this where I play the clip of James McNally going 6 force, 4 force? Will he need the 6 force?
Definitely needed Force of Wills.
Yeah.
But who cares? I'm not going to play Vintage anymore, so that was just something to take away from that, I guess. So Legacy was a bit better because I was actually playing a good deck, like tier 1. Dredge is pretty strong. Round 1, I was playing against, Burn, which is an insane matchup for Dredge. Like they can't race you just by doing 3 damage to you a turn. Like when you're recurring like 3/1 hasters every turn.
Yeah. It's
just ridiculous. And they made the mistake game 2 of not mulliganing to their Leyline of the Void. So, that was game over. Teemo Delver was my round 2, and that's also a really good matchup because they don't play Leylines. They actually only play surgical extractions.
Right, yeah.
He was also playing Return to Nature, which is the War of the Spark.
Oh my God,
2 mana,
exile a single card.
And I'm like, yep, that's super effective. Not.
Oh my God. What a weird choice. I guess it is pretty flexible, but it
really weird.
Doesn't do anything really.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was really good. Like I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned earlier that I put myself dead to Lightning Bolt in game 3, but didn't actually get bolted, so that was lucky.
Nice.
Round 3, I was playing against Stoneforge Mystic deck, and they put me on the draw. They put themselves on the draw after winning the dice roll because they thought I was manaless Dredge, which has to always go on the draw so that you can discard to hand size and start your dredging.
So
but I was playing with mana, so of course I go off turn 1 and they die pretty fast.
Good feeling.
Yeah, so he failed in his scouting attempts, I suppose. When he put me on the play, I was pretty sure he must have been playing Dredge, and I was settling in for It's quite Dredge Mirror is actually quite interesting. It's like a bridge from below battle where you can like try and exile their bridges before they exile yours.
Yeah.
But no, it was a much less interesting match, and I just won real fast. Game 4 was kind of annoying because it was like a really weird Enchantress combo deck which had loads of toolbox cards that could just like search their library or their sideboard for any hate piece they wanted, so that basically locked me out pretty quickly. I won game 1 because they punted. They were going to play Elephant Grass turn 2, but they didn't. Elephant Grass is like Ghostly Prison but for black creatures only.
Oh, that's right.
And it costs 1 mana, so yeah, that would have been really strong, but I managed to make them discard it before they cast it, so I won game 1 at least. And then round 5 I lost to Reanimator, where they turn 1 reanimated Gristlebrand and then drew 14 cards and then reanimated Chancellor of the Annex, and I had a single Putrid Imp in play, so I just screwed it up.
That's so gross.
Can't really cast spells when there's a Chancellor of the Annex in play, so and both post-board games I played Leyline turn 0, so I could only reanimate from my graveyard. So I managed to outrace them game 2 but in game 3 they managed to keep reanimating my dredge cards, so I couldn't actually dredge.
Oh, that's
so
weird.
they locked me out of the game.
That's a weird interaction.
It was so annoying.
Oh my god.
They drew all their reanimated
Wow.
spells, and it was really bad for me, but it was okay. Round 6 was yet another didn't mulligan to Leyline, so they lost kind of match. Seems to be a problem with like the fair decks in Legacy kind of have to mulligan to Leyline in order to actually beat Dredge.
Yeah.
And my opponents just mulligan to 5, went, oh, didn't find it, and then just lost. They should definitely, I've had an opponent mulligan to 1 to try and find a Leyline versus me. Like, it's that bad.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty good with London mulligan these days, right?
Yeah.
No. I played against Hogarth in Modern on the second round, and I mulliganed to 5 trying to find a Leyline. And I'm like, I can't go any lower.
Yeah, but
so I kept it, and there was the Leyline on top.
But these days, it's better to mulligan to 5 because you're still drawing 7, as opposed to the old one where you mulligan to literally 1 card.
It's definitely better. I think.
Yeah.
The argument for London mulligan, there's this playing Tron and Dredge in this against them in this tournament. Really made it clear to me that they are mulliganing. They get an advantage by mulliganing to their combo pieces and their dredge cards. But the amount of cards they're mulliganing for in Tron, everything finds Tron.
Yes.
So there's 12 Tron cards, there's 20 cards that find Tron, and then all the rest of their cards are just super strong against your deck. And they want any of them. Yeah. And you're looking for 3 Damping Spheres and 2 Collectives. Yeah. So you're trying to find 5 cards in your mulligans, and it's just the London mulligan is not as strong as finding hate pieces as it is finding combo pieces.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, I found that I won more mulligan to 5s than I would expect to, I think I mulligan to 5 a lot that weekend. Especially since I'm super keen on mulliganing. I mulligan Affinity super aggressively. And I always had quite solid 6s and really good 5s. So I think the London mulligan's really helping the proactive decks rather than the defensive strategies.
What if they changed it so pre-game actions happen before you decide what to tuck away from your mulligan?
That would be so
that would be so broken. You lay down the void and then you go down to 5 or 4 or whatever.
I played Jund, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It would make the defensive plan a little bit better, but no.
How would that work?
So you keep pre-game actions, do that, and then you go down to 5, and then you start the game.
But it doesn't, because the thing is, you're digging, if you have a ley line, you keep it. The problem isn't getting ley lines and not having a bad hand.
So you mull down to 5, you look at your 7, there's a ley line, pre-game action, you put into play, and then you only tuck 1 card away, and then you have 5 cards and ley line.
Oh, okay, so your ley line
complicated. They would just make all the ley lines super strong.
Yeah, but instead of saying that the ley line, the plan, the that sort of
I mean, it's not just ley lines,
yeah.
It's also hate pieces for Tron and
yeah.
stuff. It's just
if
any
they wanted
combo
to, they could just make a functional reprint of Leyline of the Void, call it Leyline of,
Leyline of
Devoidness, and have the exact same effect, and just have people play 8 ley lines.
8 ley lines. 8 ley line format coming to you in Modern Horizons 2.
That's how we fix Modern now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
8 ley lines.
And that's basically sums up my legacy. I did play round 7, but we were both so tired. It was 11 o'clock that we were just having the worst time.
You had
of our
so
lives.
many late nights.
Yeah,
that was so awful.
Yeah, it was fun though.
Yeah.
You say you enjoyed the testing house, but to be fair, you're playing so many formats.
You were.
I was barely at the house because I was just playing too much.
Yeah.
The one thing I would change about my list is I need to find a way to get rid of Containment Priest once it hits the board. It's the exile a creature if it wasn't cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once it hits the board, I just can't get rid of it just based off how my
so
sideboard currently is. So
which we all expected that to be printed in Modern Horizons,
Yeah.
Oh my god, that card would be so good in Modern.
So good in Modern, right?
Yeah.
And white's
White
really
playable.
bad.
Yeah.
White is unplayable.
Yeah.
It's so bad right now.
Oh my god, that card would be so good.
Yeah.
Put that in the
Can you
sideboard.
imagine it in humans though?
Yeah, you'd have to reprint it as not human.
Yeah, just like the mother runes, right? Giver runes, just do a similar sort of thing. You make it a core instead of a f***ing human.
They really should have.
Yeah.
We were doing so well with not swearing.
Sorry, I was let's rewind.
God damn it.
Nah, we'll just put a bleep in.
Yeah,
like every other time.
Yeah. Alright, then we'll finish off with our last topic here. How do we find the actual event in terms of how it was organized and its venue and things like that? What do we think? So we'll start with you, Luke, because this is your first impression of a big event. Did you think it ran pretty smoothly?
From my point of view, I don't have anything to compare it to, but it
Yeah.
ran pretty smoothly as it went. It was nice not doing draft or sealed, actually, because it just meant we could play the decks that we've brought. But we were a little bit behind on timings, but other than that, it was really fun.
Yeah, nice. What about you guys? You guys have experienced some other tournaments before, other big ones in Christchurch, and you've gone to
I've been to a Grand Prix.
a GP, yeah,
A Grand Prix.
yeah, a single one,
And
yeah.
a RPTQ.
And I
And
guess
you've
I've
been
also
to
been to
Worlds.
Worlds, yeah, so we can compare it to that. But
You've also played other. I haven't played other Adepts, but you guys played Adepts
yeah, I
last
played
year.
at the Bridge
You didn't
Club.
play the main tournament, but you played the main tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was about the same as last year's Adepts, like in terms of just like level of play.
yeah,
I faced a lot stiff. Obviously, when you go overseas, you face a lot stiffer competition.
Yeah.
When I played at the Grand Prix, even just playing like random side events, I feel like the players there were a lot stronger.
spikier.
It felt a lot spikier. I felt like playing in the field was like playing at a local game shop.
Yeah.
Again, because basically it was just like lots of Auckland locals
Yeah.
coming and playing.
Yeah, that was one thing we noticed about this one compared to other ones is that the power level of the decks and the players felt a little bit lower because it was held in Auckland. It brought a lot more sort of like mid-tier sort of casual competitive players to the tournament as opposed to when you held it in Wellington or Christchurch. More people have to travel, so those people who travel are probably more dedicated and spikier. So that results in a slightly
There was definitely a difference between top tables and lower. So like I went in the main event. I won my first 2 games.
Yeah.
So I ended up at the top table in 3rd round.
Yeah.
And the players, like on both sides of me and my opponent, they were very strong players.
yeah
And then I lost that game. I got sent down to the mid. I got sent down actually really low considering I only lost 1. And the decks that I ended up facing there for the standard, there was a combination of they were standard, so they'd done well in modern and then switched to standard.
yeah
But the standard decks were, and the players playing them were nowhere near the top tables.
yeah
So there was a massive jump
There was a
in
big skill gap.
experience. Yeah.
yeah. Well, how did you guys feel about playing in a mall? Because typically these tournaments are usually held in Christchurch. At least in New Zealand, they're held in bridge clubs. But this time it was held in a game shop and it was held in a mall. What do you think of the pros and cons for that choice?
So National was held at a bridge club.
And Christchurch, Adepts last year was also a bridge club.
There's 2 issues there. So there's one is playing at a game store, and the second one is the game store was on a mall. So I think the mall was really positive. I think it was nice having like food around.
Yeah.
Um,
Supermarket.
Yeah, supermarket things to do. It was quite central and easy to get to.
Yeah.
I think playing in a game store was not as good as playing in a bridge club. I think there's a different atmosphere when you've got like a whole venue to yourself. You've got a ton of space. You have room for like at Nationals there was a bunch of like just trading going on the side. People who weren't even in the event
Yeah.
were trading cards. There wasn't the space
Yeah.
in the game store. They did have a second room, which was really good, which was it was set up for a second tournament for the main event.
Yeah. Didn't end up getting used that much
And
actually.
Yeah, and it was more like a relaxing room, right?
Yeah.
And Standard Showdown ended up actually being in the middle of a mall, roped
Yeah.
off. So they did well with the space they had, and I think they had more numbers than they were expecting.
Yeah.
But I think there's something very nice about being in a dedicated venue just for that event.
What about you, James?
Yeah, I like the venue actually. I think it was pretty good. Like it was actually heaps of space. I never actually went into the chill out zone because like it didn't feel like I was clogging up the area just by hanging around in the main area that much. So yeah, and there was heaps of space. Like the amount of I think it's the least
store.
I think it's the least cramped I've ever been in a big Magic tournament.
Yeah.
Like there was enough room for like your playmat, and then in between playmats there was room to put all your stuff.
The tables were set up.
Like
That
even at like Grand Prix Melbourne, we were like squished up. You had like overlapping playmats and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that was really nice actually.
Nice. Yeah. I think part of also why I was so relaxed was because of the atmosphere in a mall. I think it was quite more. For me, it felt a lot more casual. When you go to a bridge club in the middle of nowhere, it just feels like you're into the arena of
That's a positive and negative. Some of the hype is it's competitive. It's once a year. It's a prestige event.
Yeah.
Playing in a game store did have a sort of F&M type feel.
Yeah, but it's such a weird like request to put in a bridge club again because it does suck. Like the food, there's no choices around you. You
Yeah.
have to rely on the canteen, so it's usually like 2-minute noodles or toasties and
Yeah.
things like that.
I
But like,
Uber Eat at Nationals.
yeah, Uber Eat, yeah. But I do really like the feeling of being in a bridge club. But that might just because that was my first impressions of things like that.
Or
So
like a convention center.
or convention center,
Yeah.
yeah. It just you got those high wall, high ceilings and things like that. It just feels like it's a zone where you're just there to spike out and play. And yeah, I don't know. I think it would also been nicer. I know Willis was out of the country for this one, but it would have been nice to have other vendors. But
there might have been
But there would have been some
logistical issues with the
Yes.
store not wanting, because they
Other-
obviously were a vendor. They had
Yes.
a lot of singles.
too.
That was really nice having a lot of singles and folders
yes,
there. But having an outside vendor might have also been a
Yeah.
plus.
yeah. Yeah. So if anybody else watching this who attended the Adepts, if you want to leave your feedback, I'm sure Manny will check this out and we'll check the comments. So if you want to leave any feedback below, yeah, go for it. I'm sure Manny will check it out.
What's everyone else's consensus on draft? Did you miss it or?
Nah.
Nope.
I missed draft a little, but I know it's a logistical nightmare doing it competitive REL,
Yeah.
and it makes the entry fee more expensive.
Yeah.
So I understand why it was gone. But
I did not. I don't enjoy draft in general, but I don't enjoy draft in competitive. I don't like the open your pack, count the cards, pick your card, pass to the left, and the
Yeah.
it's just.
And then the deck
Oh
registration
my god! Yeah,
phase
the
as
deck
well.
registrations as well.
Just takes hours.
I would have
It's
liked.
so
I would like to draft
long.
cup. I think if someone even like
A draft
even
cup?
even
Yeah.
at regular REL, so
Yeah.
you don't have to write down the packs, but just like a side event
A
draft.
side event would be good.
Actually, that's probably why they didn't have that many judges. Because National probably has a lot of judges because they have to do the stamping
Yeah.
and all the counts and the reopening and repacking and things like that. But they only had 2 judges for this one because you don't need to have all the manpower. for
Shout
that.
out to the judge team. Judge team was really good.
Yep,
Mm.
shout out to the judge team. They did amazing over the weekend. That was great.
Yeah, Jesse's an awesome head judge as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone.
Yep.
Most New Zealand judges are pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
they are.
good.
Yeah. So any other closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
What do we think about the rounds? Because I know it was kind of weird playing
Only 6 rounds?
Only 6 rounds main event day 1.
I liked it.
liked it?
I am a big fan of it. Like just I hate going like 6-0 and like there's 3 more rounds and you're like, oh man, I've done perfect so far, and then you just go like 0-3 and you're like, well, then the whole day's kind of wasted. I didn't make the top 8. So I like that it's just 6 rounds. You get 4 wins. You make day 2. It's just clean. Oh yeah, I like that it's clean and simple as well. There's no nervousness about breakers for day 1 to day 2. It's just 4 wins. You make it.
Yeah, so that was the thing they introduced on the day.
Yeah.
They decided that anyone who went X and 2 was in.
Yeah.
Interesting for people who had tiebreakers, I think. And I think part of the reason of that was that they had so few rounds. So
Yeah.
the
kind of
breakers
messes
would
with
have
it.
been a real feel bad
Yeah.
if you went X and 2 and still didn't make it. Whereas with a few more rounds, most people with
Yeah.
X and 2 probably would have made it in anyway.
Yeah.
No, I thought apart from that, everything was really good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. I would have. I know some people were speculating that it was going to be 9 rounds and things like that, but I'm glad it was just 6. It's with all the other side events and things like that. I think.
I think 7 rounds would have
7?
been okay, especially if they'd done like another round of standard, because it felt like you played a lot more on the standard if you made day 2.
Yeah.
I feel like James wouldn't have survived if there's too many more rounds. So.
No.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing.
I guess-
They were trying to fit in all the side events. You could play all the side events and the main event,
Yeah.
Mm.
but maybe you should have to make a decision between
That's one thing I do wish though.
like a modern side event and a legacy side event.
I'm definitely personally biased because I prefer standard over modern. But on day 2, it would have been nice if they did 2 modern, 2 standard, or something instead of just doing 3 modern and then top 8 standard. I mean,
I got to play 3 rounds of standard because I played the standard side event, but I was playing an inferior deck and did very terribly, and
Yeah.
I don't count that. so I felt like I didn't get to play enough standard that
Yeah.
weekend because of that. So if you were doing the main event, you'd definitely get a feel that you didn't play enough standard because only 8 people get to play an equal amount of standard and modern, and even then they get eliminated.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you could definitely do more rounds day 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you want to shuffle around the side events a little bit, or like if they found there wasn't enough overlap between say vintage and the title trophy, they could have them happening at the same time
Or even
instead of
vintage and standard.
Well, yeah,
is there that many people
Yeah.
playing both vintage and standard side
Yeah.
of it?
That was definitely one of the biggest changes because from last year, all the events were overlapping, and which is why we only had 12 people for standard last year because it was the last one at the end. But I think the way they set out their side events and the main tournament was a lot better this year with no overlaps.
I really like that you could play, like, there wasn't a choice between having to play standard
Yeah.
side event and modern side event or main event. And,
Yeah, or having to think about dropping early for.
But I
punts
think
and all that.
maybe, like, it was definitely, like, a long day for James.
Yeah.
I think, were you the only person playing all of the events?
No, there was other people,
I
right?
feel
Were
like-
other people?
Didn't Jason do that? No, Jason didn't play standard cup.
Nah, he didn't play standard. No, I
There
think
can't be
probably
that
was
many
me.
people playing all of them.
Yeah.
I think maybe...
I don't think. I think it. Nah, I was. I'm pretty sure I was.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice.
I'm the only crazy person now.
That's what we should introduce, Manny. A award for participating in all 5. There must be some sort of
They're
like.
very patient
There must be
people.
some sort of goodie bag or something. You know, maybe
Yeah.
like a pack of full art Snowlands or something. Just as a
Just a badge for James.
Yeah.
Badge.
I
a
tried
badge.
too hard.
I tried every day to win everything.
Yeah.
A participation trophy.
Participation, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Or a custom playmat. That
Ooh.
it's like that, but it's like I tried everything. That'd be sweet. All right. So, any other closing thoughts?
I think that sums up everything.
We're all looking forward to next year Adepts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Would we want 2 of these competitive events a year or just 1?
I think 2 competitive events would be nice. I don't think you should have 2 Adepts.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it should be like a different structure, a different focus, or
Yeah.
you know, if we could.
Or like something like standard draft and then modern standard, sort of like that
I
split.
think Adepts is quite good with the standard and modern.
Yeah.
But maybe you wanna do like a modern cup. Maybe do more side events and no main events or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how many would work that, but I think doing just 2 Adepts would divide the
Yeah.
attention between Adepts and.
It'd be cool to do like
the
one
other
North
Adepts.
Island, one South Island. I always think that's one of the big
That'd be-
benefits
yeah, that'd be
of
awesome.
New Zealand is
One
we
in
focus
Wellington, one
one
in
on, yeah,
Nelson.
one North, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking if you did one kind of main event and then have like a side, so have one that wasn't quite as big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah,
be
you
nice to have a
definitely
bit of a
want to
size
have
difference.
your
Yeah.
main Adepts and then have like a second Adepts that people could choose to go to if they were dedicated.
Hmm.
That you're expecting less numbers for, I think.
Yeah.
Probably in the South Island. if
And it
you're
would
gonna
be
split
great
that.
to see more of this push between connecting New Zealand tournaments with the ones international, like they did with this one, where they got free entry to the Magic Fests and things like that.
Yeah, I think the barrier to international is not entry but flights.
More sponsorships of flights, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I would rather if you give out tickets to fly to Brisbane for the GP,
Yeah.
then you can choose not to enter and go on a holiday if you want. If you get tickets to GP and you're like, I can't afford flights,
Yeah.
then you're screwed.
Get Jetstar involved. Get Air New Zealand involved. Let's get some flight sponsorship going.
No pressure,
know?
Manny.
No pressure, Manny. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me on this initial pilot podcast, and thank you guys for watching. And we have just uploaded our pilot episode of our vlog. There might be a second episode up by the time this goes up, so check those out and check out the rest of the channel. And hope you enjoy the rest of our content that goes up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.